All right. So when we look at this, I mean, when we look at the options of lead generation, we have to say, okay, what is the smartest way to do this? And I don't care if it's you're a brand new real estate agent or you've been doing this for years and years and years and years. I'm going to share a model with you that I believe is the best way to build a real estate sales business long term. Now, as I get into this and we talk about different lead sources and techniques and strategies, et cetera, you're going to have the question to say, okay, well, what do I say to these types of prospects to get them to meet with me? What do I say when I get there to actually win the listing? And so you can grab my script book. There's a link right in the description. You can download it. You can use it for all of the different tactics and strategies I'm going to walk you through in this video. All right. So when we look at this, we have to say, okay, well, there's only 6 paths towards lead generation, client acquisition. There is inbound versus outbound. There's paid versus unpaid. There's online versus offline. You just have to decide. And so when we talk about the best way, I'm going to fly through this because I don't want the whole video to be about this. I got a ton of other videos on the channel about this. But if we look at inbound, this is like, okay, every single person that gets into real estate thinks that they're going to get inbound leads. Like that's where they got into the business. They quickly find out no one's coming to save you. No one's reaching out to you. No one's calling you. So they have to say, okay, well, I understand. I've got to probably do some outbound, which you'd be correct. When we talk about the smartest way, the best way to build a business, inbound, fine. You get some leverage, et cetera, but you just have no control over the business. You have no control when people reach out to you, when they contact you. And so being primarily a business that's built on outbound, you get to control how much input you get, obviously controlling the output, how many deals you do. All right, next thing we have to look at is, okay, paid versus unpaid. Well, if you look at profitability, if you looked at both of those, you'd say, okay, how do I get the most amount of profit? And obviously, it's going to be on the unpaid. If you can spend your time in the outbound world and not having to buy anything and not having to pay for any marketing, you could be really, really profitable and in control. And then when we look at the next two, is like, okay, online versus offline. Well, we're just looking at effectiveness. So if you're saying, all right, Brandon, I'm with you. This kind of makes sense that I want to be in control of my business. So I'm gonna be focusing on outbound lead generation so that I'm in control of how many people I'm reaching out to versus waiting by the phone, hoping that someone's gonna call me. That makes a lot of sense. It also makes sense that I can go and generate the business for free. I don't have to rely on some marketing or advertising company to get me the leads. I'll go get it for free using my effort, my energy, my skill set. The next thing we have to look at is online versus offline. Well, what are the ways to do that? So if we're talking about online and effectiveness, well, fine. You can go and send people direct messages online. That is an unpaid outbound activity, and it works. I've got a lot of clients that do that. That is an option, but the offline is the clear winner where we can control the mechanism of communication much easier offline than we can online. So yes, you can email people, you can send people direct message, all of those things. That is an online approach. Offline works much better. So call, text, door knock works a lot better. So again, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Now we're going to talk about something that when I explain this to agents, it blows their mind. Okay, so when we talk about who are we going to be reaching out to, we have to look at this like a sales funnel. Okay, so number one, you have what we call top of funnel. Number two, you've got middle of the funnel. And then three, we've got bottom of the funnel. Now, when we talk about top of funnel, we are talking about prospects that there is no competition, that you get to build a business by design, meaning you get to decide where you prospect, who you prospect, the price point you get to prospect, the neighborhoods, the property types, et cetera, et cetera. So but that's the upside. The downside is it maybe takes a little bit of longer of time to convert, but you get to build a business by design. All right. So this might be things like downsizers. This might be things like people who inherit a property or free and clears. People that have a likelihood, bullseye prospecting, have the likelihood to sell a home where there's not a lot of competition. Next is middle of funnel. So when we say longer period of time, I'm talking about 6 to 12 months. Middle of funnel would be prospects that maybe there is a little bit more competition, but not as much as the bottom of funnel. So it converts, we're going to say like 3 to 6 months. And so these are things like probate and absentee owners. Okay. And so then we have bottom of funnel. This is stuff that closes like right now. This is the now business, but this is like expired for sale by owner. Now, the problem with the bottom of funnel, which is where everybody's seems like they're going after, is all the competition. And it's like probably clientele that you don't love to deal with. It's price points that you don't would ideally not want to deal with. It's probably property conditions that are less than desirable. And so, fine, if you need to do this now to pay the bills, do it. But we're going to talk about, remember, the best model that we're talking about the best model here, okay? And so middle of funnel, fine. If you need to do, again, you need to do some of that to pay some of the bills, that's really good. But really, my belief is that if you spend time every single day generating leads at the top of funnel, your business can grow exponentially year over year over year without working any harder, without having to spend any money, and your income it'll be like a hockey stick, okay? Let me show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so let's just pretend that every single day you spend, we're going to call it 2 hours per day calling top of funnel prospects, all right? So I think that the best use of your time would probably be calling downsizers. So these are people that are of retirement age that have homes that are typically bigger than your average home, and they are homes that are free and clear. They live there for 20 years plus. All right. Now, if we spend 2 hours on the phone calling these people, you should be able to have 20 conversations. All right. 20 conversations, of which on average, about 2 of those people should turn into an actual lead. All right. So remember, we talked about these leads converting roughly on average around 6 months. Okay. So here's what this looks like. Now, if you do month 1 and you put in, again, you're going to put in 2 of these a day. You're working 20 days on average. So let's say it's 40 of these leads in month 1. You're not going to get anything, right? They take 6 months. So you'd have to put 40 in month 1. You'd have to put 40 in month 2, etc. And you did this every single month. What would happen is on this 6th month, okay? Now everyone's conversion is a little bit different, but I'm going to grab a calculator just to show you guys something. What we see, this is what I see with all my clients, is that roughly about on average 25% of these leads convert into an actual listing appointment set, okay? So here's what's happening. In the 6th month, okay, you now have, we're going to call it 40 times 6, you got 240 total leads in the pipeline. However, this is the first month that leads from the pipeline actually start to mature and turn into actual listings. So remember the leads that you got from month 1? Well, in month 6, those actually start to turn over. So from there, we're going to have about 25% turn into an actual appointment set rather, okay? So that means that in this month 6, you can have 10 appointments set in that 6 months from work you've done before in the past with zero competition. We know that 80% of those typically stick. So you can go on 8 appointments met. And we know that typically on average with these, you should be able to convert a minimum. I'm talking about a minimum of 50%. You should be able to convert way higher because again, there's no competition. You're earning the business through lead follow-up over that 6 months. But let's just say you convert half of those. This is 4 listings taken. Now, here's the thing. These aren't just any listings, my friends. This is not just any listings. These are listings that you have hand selected in the neighborhoods that you want to represent property at the price point that you want to focus on. And so these are four of like the cream of the crop listings. This is you're picking your clientele, you're picking the type of properties, you're picking the location, etc. And so in that 6 months, you should be able to get 4 listings. Now, here's what happens. This is what's even crazier. As you continue to pour leads in the top of your funnel, right? We're getting 2 per day or 40 per month. Every time you do that, right? You're pushing leads down your funnel, so to speak. So we talked about the compounding effect of this happening and really the importance of this 6 months of when your pipeline actually starts to mature. So you might, okay, and here's what I would argue is that if you can be patient, and I'm not saying you need to earn $0 for the first 6 months, but maybe you're doing some expireds or some for sale by owners, or maybe you're doing some for rent by owners, you're leasing some listings. And so, yeah, you're making some money for that first 6 months, but come 6 months, your pipeline is now what we call mature. That, because of what's been happening over the prior 6 months, I just showed you what's going to happen, but let me make this even more clear. All right. So check this out. So we know that in month 6, you have conversion from month 1. And in month 7, you have conversion from month 2, so on and so forth. Every single month, this is what pipeline maturity starts to look like. This is how you build a really, really consistent business month in and month out, that every single month it compounds on top of each other. So in month 6, you got 4 from what you did in month 1. You got another 4, another 4, another 4, another 4, another 4, another 4. But guess what? This is just year 1. This is just year 1, right? So we're talking about we're not talking about any SOI. We're talking about no past clients. We're talking about no referrals. This is just your direct to consumer lead generation from people you don't even know that are not in your database. And here's what happens in year 2. So when you do this at the end of the first year, okay, at the end of the first year, you would have had generated 480 leads total, of which you converted, if you do 4 times the back half of the month, so you've converted 24, which leaves you, so 480 minus 24, it leaves you about 450 leads that go into the pipeline that very next year. So instead of starting over at 0 every single month, like most realtors do, is like they do a little bit and then they sell a house and then they have to start all over again. If you always maintain, okay, here's kind of the big idea. If you're always maintaining between 400 and 500 leads in your pipeline at any given time, 450 times 25 is you always have in your pipeline for that year 100 to 120. Let me get this out of here. Dismiss that. You always have 100 to 120 listing appointments in your pipeline in that year. This is without past clients. This is without centers of influence. This is without repeat customers. This is without any of that. And so the goal is to maintain a database and trying to get to, as fast as you possibly can, 400 to 500 leads inside of your database. What do I mean by leads? Okay, just plain and simple. All right, I'm just going to try to keep this as basic as possible. 1, they have actual motivation to sell. In other words, they have like specific reasons as to why they're looking to move. Number 2, they have no agent, and they have verbalized that they will in fact interview you when the time comes to put this property on the market. They've told you, they've said, yep, when the day comes, yes, we'd be happy to sit down with you take a look at what you can do to help us get the property on the market and get it sold. And then number 3, they have specific timelines. So they tell you, yeah, we're looking to put the house on the market we're looking to move this month, this time, roughly around this time frame, etc. And then number 4, they give you their email address to stay in touch so that you can send them your weekly email every single week. And so if you will just focus on, again, we're going to focus on top of funnel primarily. Yes, you got to pay the bills now, but we're going to focus on top of funnel business. We're going to look at getting 2 leads per day inside of the database. And if you can do that, your business will grow exponentially. You'll make incredible money. And oh, by the way, you'll build a business by design where you become the go-to agent in the neighborhoods in which you want to serve with zero competition. Now, if you want to see this like in action for real, I had one of my clients on the podcast. He explains exactly how he's been able to do it. You can watch that live right here.